All right, Shalom, Shalom. This is Howard One Banyasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. Before I begin, I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Harakah Kodash, Ma'amah. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim, Nakwatim, and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. Um, Today's topic is going to be centered around um, this ongoing talk that a lot of U.S. bases are being attacked. A lot of them are falling. A lot of the radar systems, $1 million, $1 billion equipment is being attacked and destroyed. And it's basically showing that Babylon the Great is losing its power around the world, which is according to prophecy. We're literally witnessing the dethroning of Babylon the Great. All right, loss of financial power, loss of status, loss of respect, being humiliated on the battlefield and economics, propaganda. They're being exposed, even using AI or being caught in their lies. Leadership, being able to adapt in real time, like we're witnessing Iran do, adjusting as a military. So Babylon the Great, the U.S. is lacking in all these areas. Now, the one I want to focus on today, because this is a lot to unpack, because there's a lot going on right now, according to prophecies, um, that the Americans are being captured over there. And I'm going to play a clip. But first, I want to speak about, um, I'm going to show you. There you go. The U.S. bases that are being attacked over there. It says one has, it's like a billion something, 7 billion or so dollar radar. That's the main radar that covers all these areas over there in the East, Middle East, which protects all of their bases with the radar. It runs all the other radars. It's been destroyed. So what Babylon the Great did, they went over to, I think it was South Korea and Japan, and took, it's like recycling. They like, yo, we're gonna go take from our proxies. Sorry, man, I can't protect you now. I gotta take this real quick. I gotta protect my house. So they removed the radar systems from South Korea and I think Japan, and now they're left vulnerable to attacks from North Korea and China. All right, so this is a dilution of resources. All right, a dilution of weapons defense. So basically, Iran is taking away, Persia is taking away the defense of the U.S. and Israel, where they can't defend themselves, overwhelming Israel's missile defense. So eventually, the prophecy is going to reign true that this thing could go nuclear. All right. So these are a few of Babylon the Great's bases over there um, on the borders of Iran. All right. These are all U.S. allies. Now, I want to read something. It says the U.S. throne in the world is military, financial, and it says energy, institutional leadership, geopolitical alliances that they have. What they're losing those alliances under threat of Iran. Iran is basically threatening all those countries that you're looking at. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, they like the UAE. Iraq. Basically, Iran is saying, "Hey, you're gonna take us down? Well, we bringing everybody down, all the Muslim countries with us. That's what with them. That's what they're saying. They're saying, hey, they can strike. They can easily strike Saudi Arabia's oil field, and that is the Strait of Hormuz would be the least of everybody's worries then. All right. So again, the focus is all their bases are allegedly falling over there in the east, weakening um, that look of dominance. Let me go to here real quick that the U.S. always has. Here you go. This is Daniel 7:20, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, talking about the U.S. and before whom three fell, um, was it Britain, France, and Spain? That's what helped to establish the U.S. that we see today, the United States Corporation. All right. Even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake great things, they got a president whose look was more stout than his fellows. See, the U.S. is proud, but now we're going to this, especially in Revelation says, let me get that real quick. This is Revelation 17:4. It says, and the woman was arrayed. Oh, let's go to 17:13 because it met 17:3. Because remember the 10 horns that I just spoke of. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast. They saw the U.S. being carried by its NATO allies, which now, according to this prophecy, um, Revelation 17:17, for Yahweh have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree. So that NATO alliance with the U.S., that's why you're seeing NATO pull away now, saying, yo, you're on your own. We don't have nothing to do with it. You see that? So now their agreement is falling apart and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. So now we're in the time where the words of Yahweh are being fulfilled and their alliances are breaking up. Satan's being divided against Satan. All right, so she got Babylon the Great got led into this war. Now they turn around looking, thinking they had backing, and they don't. They don't have any help. All right, so it says, I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. All right, NATO and the EU as its financial supporters, and full of blasphemous leaders. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. So you lift it up like royalty, the U.S. All right, but it's a blasphemous entity, which is basically built upon military doctrine, not spiritual, scriptural doctrine, and satanic. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. Purple represents royalty, and scarlet represents Esau. And so that's part of that Edomite structure from Europe, the EU, NATO, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. All right, ruling over the nations, man. You see that? Hold on. Revelation 17:18. And the woman which thou sawest, see that woman, is that great city. So it's a parable talking about the whore of Babylon being that great city, all right, America, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So ruling over the nations. Revelation 17 and 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. See that? Let's go here real quick. Habakkuk 2. Um, I'm gonna get to the point. So scripture say there as death. Let me read it. Yea, Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, because he transgresseth by wine. See, they transgress, continually sin, continue to do the wickedness. They became what? He is a proud man. Because they became rich through their covetousness, they think they can continue to do that. But the Lord set their bounds that they cannot pass. That's why when they took Maduro from what was that, Venezuela, enlarging their what? Neither keepeth at home. See, got military bases everywhere. Neither keepeth at home. Um, who enlargeth his desires as hell. All right. So I might do a lesson on this later, but look what's happening in Cuba. They went over and took Venezuela, developed, shut down Venezuela, which slowed down. Well, actually, caused the what's that oil embargo? Right, just basically stopped all the oil imports from Cuba. I mean, from Venezuela to Cuba, right? And now Cuba's in a outage. The whole city, the whole island is without power. All right, so now the whole island is without power, and as the days go by, it's getting worse and worse over there. All right, so they've enlarged their desires, and it's causing what? Hell on earth. That's what World War III is. Hell, man. There's not nothing good about it except for the deliverance that's going to come from it. So it says, who enlarges his desires as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied, man, through their greed. But gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. See, they want to rule over the whole world, ruling over all the nations. They're trying to take the Middle East, but the one that's in their way is Iran. All right. And now they're talking about cutting off water to places like Saudi Arabia. And, I think Dubai was hit today with a new missile. All right. And the funny part is, Iran still has those same aqueducts going back to the ancient Persian Empire. All those empires that Iran had, Persia, um, these were different empires under the Persian rule. And according to them, once they put something in the law, they don't change it. So they not budging. And they got vast empires still in place where one empire has ancient empire had vast aqueducts. So they got a natural running aqueducts or water in Iran. So they don't need imports. So what Iran's trying to do is get all these nations under pressure so they'll switch to the yuan, and basically pull away from the US and turn against the US and Israel. Look how little it is. They say Israel's getting pummeled right now. They got to allegedly they set a law in place that if any of these news stations report the damage in Jerusalem or Israel, then they get 5 years in prison. So, all right, they're getting their asses handed to them on a platter over there. All right. So now let's read. Let's go here real quick. I want to read this. So now, with all that rulership and dominance taking over the earth, enlarging their desires as hell, now the Lord said this, Isaiah 47 and 1. come down and sit in the dust. All right, sit in the dust. It basically means humiliation. All right, or some readings would say obscurity or just powerless. All right, getting humiliated on the battlefield. You know, there you go. Oh, virgin daughter of Babylon, meaning untouched. So somebody feel like they can't lose or they never been hit before. They don't know what it feel like to get knocked out. They're gonna be boasting. That's what I mean by virgin daughter, meaning violated. Sit on the ground. All right. So sit on the ground in that low condition instead of being in it being exalted. It's no longer being exalted, it's being dethroned. Sit on the ground. All right. Like those third world countries. There is no throne. See, there is no more rulership for you in the world, ruling over the nations. And it's being proven by the resentment, rebellion, defense, vengeance of Iran and these other nations. O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So at some point, this place is going to get hit. That's why you keep hearing people like Dabu 7 saying there's going to be blowback. Something, or you hear people saying something major is coming. They're going to move to nuclear. And at some point, China and Russia are going to step in. And they're already helping out with Persia. All right. So all these bases are getting attacked. Let me read this. All right. So where was it? Okay, this is part of the U.S. throne structure in the world. Besides finance, besides energy production, besides leadership and allies, you know, um, their military bases is part of their throne. Alliances and geopolitical network with over 800 military bases worldwide. 800. He said, neither keepeth at home. Right. That shows the power of this place. It stated that Babylon the Great was never built for a long or forever war. It was made to pump fear into people. That's it. That's why Revelations 13, where he said to call fire to come down in the sight of the world, basically deceived everybody, put fear into them, and everybody back down. This dude got a nukes. They got guns. They got stretch. They can reach out. They got bases everywhere. But now they get hit, and you see the giant start to stumble. They're like, "Oh shit!" Right? So what can win against the giant, just like David, is willpower, resolve, faith, uh, um, adjusting in real time, like Iran's military is doing. The U.S. can't adjust. We're not seeing them adjust. They're getting hit with cheap weapons, $50,000 weapons that they mass producing before they even finish shooting them. Iran is making more, but the U.S. or I'll say Babylon the Great infrastructure and weaponry and technology is getting hit, and it's causing them billions of dollars, millions, hundreds of millions, taxpayers' money. So that's why they what you hear that cry for help. They're crying for help from those European nations and even China. They basically testing China. You gonna help? All right. So with over 800 military bases worldwide and a network of key allies. See, a network of key allies, like we're looking at on the map, that's getting destroyed, well, threatened. The U.S. maintains an unparalleled ability to project power and secure strategic advantages. All right, so through the military bases, they can project power right at people's doorstep. But now that threat is being deflected by Iran. All right, so all their bases are getting attacked. I'm gonna play this clip. This is a clip of a base being attacked in Kuwait. All right, U.S. troops run in panic as Iranian drone hits base in Kuwait. Man, all right, and we know the scriptures say the Lord gonna drop. Matter of fact, sheesh, it's been coming out all week. The scripture here. All right, Joel 2:20. Right, Joel 2:20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, North American army, is through their desires as hell and their pride. The Lord has used the U.S. and their leaders to send these troops over there. Now the troops are starting to panic, and a lot of stuff they got to do is going against a lot of their conscience or their will, like destroying a school of little girls or going up against Iran and not making it back home. Joel 2:20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army and will drive him into a land barren and desolate. That's where they at in the desert. With his face towards the east sea, going towards Iran, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea, basically towards the Red Sea. And his stink shall come up, meaning what? The bodies of these troops are going to be over there. And his ill savor shall come up because he have done great things. They're going to get destroyed over there. All right. And all the wickedness that they're doing over there is being exposed. But this is a video of Iran. They're not playing, destroying one of the bases over there. All right, I'm not gonna play the sound, so I don't get no copyright strike. They used a Shahed 136 drone flying towards a radar tower. Look at that. They just recording it. All right. Now let's go here. Which one? I'm gonna play this one. Look, 600 American casualties, and they're saying there might even be 1,000. You know what I mean? So there might even be 1,000, and they're keeping it hidden for propaganda. 600 U.S. soldiers casualties. 173 Delta Force members captured by Iran, allegedly. So 173 Delta Force. You know, Delta Force is like the top, one of the top, if not the top, of the crop for the U.S. Military, shadow government. They have, you know, the Delta Force, and it's only a small number of Delta Force members. They're like ninjas. They run while they shoot. Like they can shoot and run at the same fast as shit at the same time. All right, Delta Force. I looked them up. And it says 173 were caught by the IRGC, allegedly. All right, but they're not coming out with it. Captured by Iran. Let's play this clip.
Dead and wounded are reporting 600 American casualties in the war so far. And when you see the videos, which we have been able to see, and the ones that are suppressed, the ones you're paying for at the BBC with your license fee, of course, are not allowed to show the impact of Iranian missiles, but the impact is clear enough.
See, a lot of these agencies are being told not to show the true reports.
They are now landing without any kind of intercession. They are now hitting Israel at will.
Right? They're hitting Israel at will because Iran is using what they call cluster munitions. Let me see if I can show it. All right, Iran is using cluster munitions, and the U.S. uses cluster munitions too, like in Vietnam or so. Let me see, Iran cluster munitions or cluster missile, right? But the difference is, like when Babylon the Great drops a cluster missile, it goes all over the place, right? With no direction, no guidance. But when Iran dropped theirs, their cluster missile comes out as a cluster, but then each cluster individually is a guided missile. Each cluster individually is a guided missile. All right. So let me go here. Hold on. I want to see the damage. I want to see the actual video. Cluster musicians. So like here, one moment. That's it. This might be it. I don't think so though. Oh yeah, IRGC cluster missile barrage hits Ramat Gan, two unalived. And they're being real precise with their strikes, man. Look, these cluster munitions. Look at that. They just rain down in clusters. And they're doing this like every 30 minutes or every hour, just raining clusters down, which is overwhelming Israel's Iron Dome. It's basically useless right now. And the radar has been taken out in all those bases I just showed you. So they're fighting kind of a 75% defenseless war against Iran. All right, so let me go back to this video. Play this video real quick.
Destruction of thousands of buildings, some of them very important buildings indeed, like the Mossad headquarters, like the Air Force headquarters, like meetings where important officers and officials are gathering, like air raid shelters where the Israeli leader to credible reports and official statements by the Iranian government, official statements by the Iranian government that 173 members, officers, and men of the famed Delta Force are in their hands as captured prisoners of war.
Boom, look at that. See?
And others were killed. What apparently happened was that the United States attempted a military landing, which went disastrously wrong, was ambushed by a superior force of IRGC fighters who killed and took.
A superior force, more superior than 173 Delta Force. One Delta Force member could take out a whole area. All right. So the IRGC ain't no joke, obviously. And the only way Babylon the Great is going to get troops over there is paratroopers, jumping out of parachutes onto those mountains, a mountainous region. And what did Iran say? They got a trap waiting. Deep.
173 people prisoner. You're obviously not aware that the price of a barrel of oil is now $100, will probably be tomorrow $150, and may reach $200.
Right. This is it, man. If you go to the gas pump now in Florida, I think it's $4. It's basically $3.99.
Before it becomes unobtainable at all, and remaining barrels are placed in the Louvre for safekeeping. Oh, wait. And the crash that is going to cause in Western economies was clearly not thought through either by.
They didn't think it through, man. They really thought they were going to conquer Iran. They really thought so. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you. I'm going to play this last part. They really thought that they were going to conquer Iran and it was going to be easy. Um, they were going to cause an uprising with the citizens. You don't hear about that no more because the citizens actually decided to stick together. You know what I mean? So their whole plan went to shit.
The golfer on the range at Mar-a-Lago today.
All right, so let's play this other clip. They really thought they were going to win through their pride. He said the scripture say the pride of their heart has deceived them, and that they were continually transgressing through their business, through their money, getting wealth. Then they became prideful. All right.
Well, okay, the IDF doesn't.
Honestly, it's a bunch of frat brothers. Trump, Mr. T, and his cronies. It's funny because there's a video out. They said Trump forces them all to wear these specific shoes that he sends out to his team, and he don't. He does. He, he says they have to wear it. They have to wear the shoes, and they so afraid not to wear the shoes. Um, he sends them. This is talking about Donald Trump. He sends them all whatever size he chooses. He just don't even think about it. He just chooses the size and send it to him, and they got to try to wear the shit. They said Marco Rubio. That's why his shoes be hanging off his damn feet. So his cabinet is all frat brothers, man. You know how it go, and they making money off of this, right?
Want to explain it? How about you explain it? I don't know. Like you're an Israeli journalist, so outlet, isn't. Who is going to explain it if you don't? You know why there's no warning, and you're embarrassed to say it. It's because your radar systems have been barbecued extra crispy by the Iranians, and you fuck.
They're embarrassed. It's funny how this dude he going off, but us we say anything. They be shutting. Remember they were shutting our pages down and shit, and all that before, man, giving us all kind of strikes. But these type of people, they get to say what the hell they want. You getting barbecue extra crispy.
Know it, and you it drives you crazy that they have bested you. That is the truth. That is the truth, and you know this, and you won't say it either.
They're getting outclassed, just like in a boxing match. The U.S. is getting outclassed, and they're being dethroned right before our eyes.
You won't say because you don't want to. By the way, the other possibility is the military censor. Again, very democratic Israel, right? Totally democratic. Here, this one was the article in the Times of Israel, right? The IDF said the change in alert timing was not due to technical issues. It wasn't. What was it due? Netanyahu, which we'll talk about in a bit. But this is really just, they're actually the only ones I've seen in Israel. Right. And I don't think that the Israelis or the Americans expected any of this. And I think that they've been, it's a classic, typical example of two arrogant military powers picking on someone who they think is smaller and then getting punched in the face, right?
Yeah. They thought they were going to win. They thought it was going to be quick. They said we're going to be out in 2 weeks, 4 weeks. It's going to be real fast. Nah, man. Didn't happen that way. All right.
Again, you might not like the analogy, you might think it's a bit colorful, but it's an accurate analogy. It's a factual, objective analogy. It's true, right? You can't realistically think that America and Israel knew that this would happen and let it happen. I really think that they honestly believed Iran is not capable of doing it. And the irony is that Iran did it with less money, right? It's not like they had to struggle to do it. Some of these drones are made of carbon fiber, like the ones Hezbollah are using as well. They don't even make noise, right? No noise. You can't see them on the radar because they're not packed with metal. It's incredible, honestly, from an engineering, from an objective point of view.
Yeah, the Iranians are so resilient, man. Look how long they went undergoing sanctions, right? You know, in the old movie 300, they were the Persians. And he said, "Our arrows shall blot out the sun." They still had that mentality. And that's what you're seeing. Nothing but arrows, endless. Every hour, 3 hours, 4 hours, 3 hour operations, missile after missile. They're not stopping. Proverbs 16:33, the lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of Yahweh. All right. So the outcome, yeah, man may do this or do that and live a certain way or transgress, but the outcome is always from the Most High. All right. And the Lord is intervening, saying, all right, enough.
What these people have been able to do under sanctions with no resources or limited
Yeah, I just said that.
resources compared to two of the greatest or so-called greatest military and intelligence apparatus, or entities in the world. It is remarkable. I mean, sorry, it's objectively true.
Yeah, they're being outclassed, man. Wait till we see what China and Russia got. Oh my goodness, we don't even know what they got. Or Iran.
And you can see here, American soldiers themselves filming 117 radar unit being blown up in their own base in Kuwait. I mean,
yeah, this is the video right here.
Is morale and is morale and discipline in this army so low that your own soldiers are just standing during a bombing raid and filming their own losses for the world to see? Is it really that bad? I mean, this is really humiliating. If I were
He said, what? This is really humiliating. That's scripture, man.
Their own losses for the world to see. Is it really that bad? I mean, this is really humiliating.
All right, so let's go back real quick. It says here again, come down and sit in the dust. Isaiah 47:1. All right. And that dust really represents humiliation. Some say confusion too. All right. But if you look it up, it just means humiliation or being humiliated. Right. Obscurity. All right. It says serpent's food, token of punishment. See, sit in the dust. Token of punishment and humiliation. Okay, this is from the blue letter. On the surface of the ground, a sign of grief. So sitting in humiliation, man, being dethroned. All right. Of a heap of rubbish. So this place is being humiliated, according to scripture. So let me get this precept now, real quick, before I go further. I want to read this. This is Nahum chapter 3, verse 1. It says, Nineveh, you too will fall into a drunken stupor. All right, basically into foolishness, humiliation. You too will try to escape from your enemies. All right, so now the U.S. is trying to escape or looking for help. All your fortresses, military bases, even the main one, which is the home base, will be like fig trees with ripe figs. That means what? A ripe fig represents fullness, but it also the attachment that it has to the tree represents weakness. All right, so they're gonna be weak, ready for the taking. You just shake it or bump the tree, that it's gonna detach. And the fruit gonna fall off. All right, so all their base is gonna be left vulnerable. Shake the trees, so shake the bases. They being shooken up, and the fruit falls right into your mouth, into the mouth of the eater. All right, and all right, in Iran over there eating. That's the thing. Those bases have never been shaken. Now they're being shaken to the core, and they're falling. Your soldiers are helpless, and your country stands defenseless before your enemies. Man, we're witnessing this happen in real time. All right, your soldiers are helpless, and your country stands defenseless before your enemies. Fire will destroy the bars across your gates, further destroying the defense of the U.S. All right, all those dwelling without bars and gates. Draw water to prepare for a siege and strengthen your fortresses. So strengthen your defense, build up your aircrafts, build up, but like they're doing around the borders of Iran, getting ready to fight for the Strait of Hormuz. Trample the clay to make bricks. Basically saying getting ready and get the brick molds ready. No matter what you do, you will still be burned to death or unalived in battle. Sheesh. Lord ain't playing, man. You will be wiped out like crops eaten up by locusts. Like crops that are eaten up by the locusts, man. All right, that's what those bases are like. They're going to be eaten up by those nations over there, Iran and its allies. You will be wiped out like crops eaten up by locusts. We about to see them. We're literally made witness the Babylon the Great's army get wiped out. So if you're Israelite, and I just heard yesterday that Iran is releasing so-called black soldiers because they believe that we're the Israelites. He said they believe that we're the true Jews and that we were oppressed by the same nation. So they actually sparing us like they did years ago when they released a lot of women and so-called black men. So we shouldn't be fighting in this war. You multiplied like locusts. See, that's what the U.S. did. They multiplied all their bases all around the world. You produced more merchants than there are stars in the sky, man. All right, all these merchants and people, resources, right? But now they are gone, man. All right, the Abraham Accord, they wanted to take over that whole area. It's gone. Their little dream is gone. Like locusts that spread their wings and fly away. Your officials are like a swarm of locusts that stay in the walls on a cold day. But when the sun comes out, they fly away, and no one knows where they have gone. So they're gonna get the hell out of there. All they hope is the allies, they ain't gonna have no backing. All right. So this is going down. Let me get one more real quick. Hold up. This is was it Nahum? Oh, it's Nahum as well. Nahum 2:11. All right. Nahum 2:11. Here you go. It says, where now is the city? Where's the U.S. That old U.S. that was World War II U.S. Vietnam U.S. All right, where is that at? All right, the Lord, like just like the Black Panther, the Lord has stripped the power away from this damn place. All right. And now there's a shameful spewing upon his glory. It says, where now is the city? Where are you at? That was like a den of lions, man. You know? That's why I said scripture say break the teeth of the young lions. Their military, their might. Their den of lions, which would be like their military bases. Where's the place where the young lions were fed? All right, this way they would eat. They would go over there to eat, man, and take over and bring back resources to the U.S. Not to us, not to us's, but to the U.S., meaning the government. Those rich elites, they would get the benefits. All right. So where's that great city that was like a den of lions, the place where young lions were fed, where the lions and the lionesses would go and their cubs would be safe. There's nowhere safe for them over there in the Middle East now. Nowhere safe. The lion unalived or killed his prey. They would go out there and just slaughter anybody. Look at Iraq. Look at Kuwait. Look at uh, Venezuela. Look at with that Syria. All right. Um, it says and tore it to pieces for his mate and her cubs, so they would pass it around to their allies. I would say that I shall never sit as a widow. Always thinking the U.S. always thinking they're going to have that same financial backing, military help from NATO, et cetera, et cetera. It ain't working now. Now NATO said no, they're not. They're not fighting this battle. But you can use our bases to launch from. Only because we need you to protect our resources because you already started this damn war. It says what? I am your enemy. Salakia. It says the lion killed his prey and tore it to pieces for his mate and her cubs, and filled his den with torn flesh. That's what they used to do. They'd go around the world robbing, killing, and stealing, and bringing. I would say a man would go to war and bring all the wealth back to the woman. So they bring the wealth back to the whore. The Lord said this though: I am your enemy, says Yahweh Almighty. I will burn up your chariots. Damn, all your military, man. The Lord said He's gonna burn them up. Your soldiers will be killed in war. They're going to be unalived in the war. And I will take away everything that you took from others. And demand of your envoys, the demands of your military bases or your envoys will no longer be heard. The Lord ain't playing, man. So yeah, the Lord said their power, their throne is no more. They're losing that throne. All right. I'm wrapping up. Wait, let me get out. Hey, Shalom, Shalom. Ayan Nawa, daughter of Jerusalem. Shalom all to Yahweh and the son Yahweh Shai Barakatah. That's right. All right, I'm gonna wrap this one up. And hopefully this was edifying. I'm gonna say Shalom to y'all. See y'all on the next one. Shalom, sister. The water.